ACC Media Days is coming upon us, and really the only negative thing I have to say is that the Big Ten Media Days are roughly at the same time. ACC starts on Tuesday. They're doing a 3-day event, and then the Big Ten starts on Wednesday. They're doing a 2-day event. Other than that, I am super excited for these ACC Media Days. I got everything packed up. I'm going to meet the game down there. We got a couple of things lined up already. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about today, what players are attending, what coaches are attending. Of course, I'm going to have that lined out for you. The major storylines, what are the things that everybody is talking about or anticipating for the ACC Media Days, and I may have one for you that you probably weren't even expecting. Also, what do you need to know? What interviews do we have lined up? Should I tease you here? Nah, I'm not gonna tease you just yet. Also, plus much more on the governor of college football. That's hashtag GOCFB, you dig? Let's get it. Welcome to the governor of college football. Happy feelings are certainly in the air. Shout out to Frankie Beverly for the wonderful music he has brought us. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about these here ACC Media Days. Let's talk about Tuesday. Tuesday is the first official day, even though we're heading down tomorrow. We got to pick up our credentials and all that tomorrow, get into the Airbnb, and then get ready because it's going to be 3 days of really not a lot of sleep. If you know how we operate, we're not going to get a lot of sleep these next 3 days. Shout out to my guy Nino. So on Tuesday, Georgia Tech will be there. Head coach Brent Key, defensive back LaMiles Brooks, offensive lineman Jordan Williams, defensive lineman Sylvian Joan. Hopefully I said that correctly. Louisville, their head coach Jeff Brom in his first ACC Media Days as a head coach. Running back Jawar Jordan will be there. Defensive lineman Ashton Jalot, and then also offensive lineman Brian Hudson. Miami getting unsure on the first day of the media days. Mario Cristobal will be there. Quarterback Tyler Van Dyke will be there. Defensive back Cam Kitchens will be there, and also offensive lineman Matt Lee will be there. Syracuse, shout out to Syracuse. Syracuse had a fantastic year last year. Head coach Dino Barbers will be there. Quarterback Jared Schrader will be there. Tight end, I say this too often, Oronde Gaston II. If you pay attention to the CFF community, or really any of the C2C community as well, they don't like that the Oronde Gaston is being considered a tight end, because a lot of people see that he still lines up on the outside from time to time. And then linebacker Marlo Wax. So Wednesday we heating up a little bit. We got Duke, Mike Elko, quarterback Riley Leonard, defensive lineman Dwayne Carter, offensive lineman Jacob Monk. Florida State is following them, Mike Norvell, a team that I believe in a lot this year. Quarterback Jordan Travis, edge Jared Verse, and then linebacker Kalen DeLoach. Pitt, Pat Narduzzi. I was just talking about Pat Narduzzi in my last episode of the Governor of College Football. Quarterback Phil Jerkovic. That's interesting. I wonder, was it, I don't know, like, I wish that them and BC could have been on the same day to kind of hear some of that talk. Defensive back MJ Devonshire, who had a hell of a season last year. Offensive lineman Matt Calvis will be there as well. Virginia, Tony Elliott. I really want to hear from Virginia. I don't expect much from them, or maybe this upcoming season, but maybe they can change my mind at media days. Tony Muskett will be there. Defensive lineman Chico Bennett, and then running back Paris Jones. Virginia Tech, Brent Pry. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Tight end Nick Gallo. Defensive lineman Josh Fugler, and wide receiver Ali Jennings. Thursday, Boston College, Jeff Halfley will be there. Quarterback Emmett Moorhead will be there. Defensive lineman Donovan, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. And then offensive lineman Christian Mahogany. Clemson, Old Dabble is on Thursday. Dabo Sweeney will be there. Cade Clublink will be there. Will Putnam, and then defensive lineman Tyler Davis. North Carolina, Mac Brown. Quarterback Drake May, probably the player everybody, all the media wants to talk to most. He's going to have a bunch of media surrounding him after the interview period is over. Linebacker Cedric Gray. Tight end John Koppenhaber. NC State, shout out to NC State, man. Also shout out to Annabelle Myers. Dave Dorian. Quarterback Brendan Armstrong, who I have an interview with, already lined up. Linebacker Peyton Wilson, defensive back Aiden White, and then Wake Forest closes out ACC Media Days. And head coach Dave Clawson will be there. Quarterback Mitch Griffiths, offensive lineman Michael Jurgens, and then linebacker Chase Jones. So I think the storyline that everybody should be paying attention to is really Jim Phillips, and it's 3 different reasons why I want to hear from Jim Phillips. Number one, where's the future of the ACC going? I think at some point, and of course still now, SEC and Big Ten is leaps and bounds ahead of everybody. While I still think they're ahead of everybody, Big 12 and Brett Yormark was certainly able to close the gap, and he's doing an amazing job as the commissioner of the Big 12. I'm not saying that Jim Phillips isn't doing a great job with the ACC, because I do believe he's doing a great job, but there's kind of a couple of things that's hindering the ACC at the moment, and the biggest thing is the media rights deal that was signed in 2016. Let's just take a second and go back to 2016. Who are the best players in college football? Who are the best players in the NFL? What music were you listening to? For me, I remember listening to The Life of Pablo by Kanye West on repeat. This is 2016, that's 7 years ago. So that deal that they signed 7 years ago still exists today, when we know that yesterday's paper don't got nothing to do with today's paper or tomorrow's paper. And that deal still has to last for another 13 years to the fiscal season of 2035 through 2036. How do the ACC handle this? When Big 12 teams are going to be paid appropriately, when Big 10 teams are going to be paid appropriately, when SEC teams are going to be paid appropriately, and ACC teams are going to be lacking behind. I feel like there's a couple of schools that are unsatisfied with the conference after a moment. Will any of this be mentioned during media days? I doubt it, but you're going to be able to read the body language of a couple of people. So those kind of the 2 major things. The only thing that is helping Jim Phillips right now as it pertains to the media rights deal is the fact that Pac-12 and George Kliavkoff, I don't know what they got going on. I don't want to speculate, but I was expecting the Pac-12 media day, because it was only one day, I was expecting him to come out and say, oh, yes, mic drop. Yeah, we got our media deal, but that didn't happen. And he was just kind of say, just because it hasn't happened yet, don't mean that, it isn't on the table, or it isn't going to be a good thing. But a lot of us was truly expecting media days to be that time to say, hey, Pac-12 got a media deal. It's with this company, or it's with this streaming service. That didn't happen. So that's the only thing that's helping Jim Phillips right now. But the last thing with Jim Phillips is going to be interesting, because he was the athletic director at Northwestern from 2008 to 2021. So that's a span of 13 years. And he's going to get asked some questions about this whole hazing allegations, and was he privy to any of it? I'm certain that, he's media trained. He's not in this position because he don't know what he's doing. He definitely knows what he's doing. But is he going to be able to handle those questions when it comes to that? Shout out to my guy Boomer. We seen Boomer during the NFL Combine asked Stetson Bennett probably the best question that was asked the entire Combine, and a bunch of publications used it, didn't even give Boomer his credit. That's neither here nor there. When he asked Stetson Bennett about does Georgia have a culture problem, while Stetson did a great job answering the questions, you can still see his body language that he was almost disgusted to having to be answered that question. But it's neither here nor there, like I said earlier, because he answered it anyway. So Jim Phillips certainly got some questions that need to be answered. So what do you need to know? I think what you most need to know is that, one, what we got up here on our screen right now, shout out to K Ford. These are his ACC projected standings, and I believe these are as of a month and some change ago. I haven't got the updated ones, but I think the best ratings guy in the business, maybe it's a biasness, I think it's K Ford. Make sure you guys check him out on Twitter. Right now he has Clemson as the 8 rated team. He has them finishing first in the ACC. Florida State second, North Carolina third, Louisville's gonna have a really good team this year. Then Pitt, Miami, NC State, Wake Forest, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Duke, Virginia, Boston College, and Georgia Tech. So I think, what do you need to know coming in? Also, who are those disgruntled teams? Is it something that we will see? Can we see how disgruntled those teams are? I don't want to say who I believe some of the disgruntled teams are, but if you think about the trajectory of the ACC and the teams that kind of been good for many years, those are probably the teams that have some frustrations with the conference. You think about a team like Clemson. I don't know for a fact if Clemson has a problem with the ACC, but what I do know is Clemson has been a top 5. Yeah, I'm going to say top 5. I'm not going to even say a top 10, top 5. I'm going to say a top 5 program in college football for the better part of a decade. If you look at that, Bo Swinney record is impeccable. I don't care what conference you in. That record is impeccable. So you think about a team like that. You think about a brand like Florida State. You think about a brand like Miami. I know Miami hasn't been that great as of late. But if you think about just the brands, I'm sure some of those teams like, yo, we ain't getting the same paper some of these other conferences are getting. So who are we interviewing? I know a lot of you guys want to know. I told you all earlier I'll be interviewing NC State quarterback Brennan Armstrong. I actually wanted to do an interview with him and Robert and I, but Robert and I will not be in attendance for ACC Media Days. We're also interviewing Jeff Hafley, and Nino will be doing an interview. We're also interviewing Georgia Tech head coach Brent Key, and then I'm interviewing Virginia Tech head coach Brent Pry. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait. Gotta finish packing up after I upload this episode. We'll be leaving roughly 4 or 5 in the morning. As I always like to say, do something nice for somebody you normally wouldn't do. Always pay it forward. Peace and love, peace and blessings. And until next time, you already know what it is. G.O. CFB 1. Welcome to the Governor of College Football.